and you'll see this when we go back and review, is a split screen.
Okay.
So I got a box on me. I got a box on you. I don't have any name. I don't have any identifying things for you. It
Yep.
makes it a lot simpler if I just do the standard lower third I've already got built for Davis up front, and then I'll just be like, and now we bring in our Compass Football business reporter, Aaron De Los Reyes, live from New Jersey. Aaron, and then blah, 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 blah.
Why don't you say live from New York? It's better.
Oh, that was all off the top of the head.
I know.
It wasn't a finished product, but yes, okay. I'll say, let's bring in our Compass Football business expert in New York, Aaron De Los Reyes. Now, obviously, whatever. So I think I've got this built out for, it's layering. So I just have to figure out the sequences of building these things out, especially if I have an opening sequence or whatever. In terms of I can't take you off because otherwise I won't be able to hear you.
Yep.
So it's just gonna have to be like this unless we want to mess around with the Zoom later.
Oh, here, let me turn this other light on real quick to see if it's any different here. This is the this is like, home-based lights, like in little, a reading lamp attached to it and stuff. So this will just give us a benchmark. Let me see it online, see if it's any, before I go big lights. All right. Here. Listen. I just wanted to get the maximum lighting here. That's probably too much background light.
You have to close all those. You need no background light.
Okay, good. I just want to double check. All right. Is that better?
That looks pretty good. That doesn't look terrible.
Okay. I mean, this is the half-ass, no setup lights.
Right. And your laptop camera, not the Brio and all that stuff.
Yeah. I wanted to just kind of like, okay, this is our benchmark, and then I'm going to set up the Brio and the 3 lights. Well, I'll just set up the Brio next, like this, and then I'll set up the 3 lights after that. Okay. And then I have my other room, which is like dark, which then I can really set the lights up in, and we can really, between all those, we'll figure out which are the best.
Okay. We could sort of dry run here. Let me shift to my solo shot.
Okay. By the way, how am I like head to top here, sides?
Again, you're going to use the Brio, so it's going to be different.
Yep, but for now.
Just in terms of kind of equalizing us, that's better. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, that's good. Any more and you might be out of it. All right, so I'm gonna go to my solo shot. And then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to set it up. Let's go to our business reporter, Aaron De Los Reyes in New York, and I'll figure out a way. I got to figure out a way to do the workflow to get from one shot to the other without kind of making a mess here.
Yep.
All right. All right. Hold on 1 second.
And we're not going to cover anything. We're just going to do this for workflow reasons right now. We're not. I'm just going to ramble, whatever, right?
Yeah. I mean, whatever you want to make up. We're just doing this. This is just a dry run. So this is literally like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. Okay, let me see if I can figure this out. All right, ready? All right, let's go. All right. Oops, let's clear you out. I can still hear you. That's weird.
I'm not making any noises unless it's just movement.
Yeah, but I'd rather have you mute. I mean, I'd rather be able to at least be able to mute you. Is my point. Oh, because you're live. That's why. Because you're live. All right, let me change the shot. I won't be able to hear you in a second. All right.
Okay.
All right. Hey everybody, Jason Davis here, live on Davis Up Front for a Tuesday, May 9th, 2018. It's time to talk a little business of soccer around the world. Obviously, lots going on in the world of lots going on in the world of soccer when it comes to the business elements of the game. We're talking about FIFA asking for $25 billion. We're being offered $25 billion for a number of its properties here as we come into, that's going to be a problem. Okay. I got to figure, so one of the things with the graphics is going from one to the other with the Stream Deck is tough because it wants to pull one out to put one back in. I think I can, let me see if I can figure this out.
You'll figure that out. You have to figure that one out.
Yeah, I got to figure that one out. I mean, I can have us up without the graphical elements and then just have those pulled in. That doesn't look terrible. Okay. All right, let me do this again. I'll be right back. Okay?
Yep.
You gotta be kidding me. Everybody, Jason Davis here. Davis up front for Tuesday, May 8th, 2018. It's time to talk a little bit about the business of soccer. We're going to bring in our business soccer expert. His name is Aaron De Los Reyes. He is in New York, and he joins us now. Aaron, FIFA has apparently been offered $25 billion for the development of the Nations League and the Club World Cup. Gianni Infantino is very much behind this idea. What would be the impetus for this kind of investment in a Nations League and obviously the club competition of the Club World Cup?
Well, thank you very much, Jason, for bringing me on. This is a historic shift in how the power of the game is really regulated from the FIFA World Cup level versus the regions. So the opportunity here for the investors, especially the Saudis and SoftBank in Japan, is really to anchor over 100 matches a year over a 4-year cycle, which when you add that up really isn't much money from their standpoint. And this really has the opportunity to double the revenue for FIFA, which over a 4-year, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, one thing that Gianni Infantino is advocating is an 8-team mini World Cup at the end of a 2-year cycle for the Nations League. Now, a lot of skeptics will say this is just the Confederations Cup in a different form. If you're playing games to qualify for that across a 2-year stretch, does it make it fundamentally different?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things it does is starts to put a lot more pressure on the regional qualifications, having a lot more value outside of CONMEBOL and UEFA. So most of the rest of the regional qualifiers really don't produce much of an economic benefit except for the number 1 or the number 2 host country. Once you get to something that is this globalized, it starts to become almost a global version of a Champions League. And the properties that we're talking about here would be worth, I mean, I believe they would be worth probably 3 times as much as what they're offering. So this first cycle, when no one's really knowing what they're doing at 25 billion, we could be looking at another cycle here where it could be 50 or 100 billion. I mean, so this could dwarf the normal World Cup cycle. This is probably one of the more innovative things that's happened really in the modern history of sports. And it's just kind of sliding right by, except for having an emergency meeting, et cetera, trying to, lock something in before the announcement of 26.
Now, one of the problems for a lot of people watching this unfold is that Infantino seems to be shoehorning this in, pushing it through at an accelerated pace, won't divulge the identities of these investors across the entirety of the group because he signed an NDA. Considering FIFA's problems with transparency and the number of officials who have been indicted on corruption charges, is it a problem the way this is unfolding?
Well, of course. I mean, any incredibly material transaction to any very large organization is always going to have a transparency issue when you're doing, you know, what you almost call super mega side deals. But when you're talking about, you know, the kind of money that the federations would be getting, which is, and let's be real here, at the end of the day, it's the 12 major European federations that are going to decide this. If they want this to happen, it'll happen. And it's really going to put huge pressure on the Euros, because while the Euros has qualification value, it's also produced a cachet that's very similar to FIFA, to the World Cup itself. And so once you get a Euros model that gets challenged, which is just absolutely inevitable here, then you're really going to put a huge amount of pressure on these regional tournaments. I can see this evolving over time, not this cycle or even one after, but over 2 or 3 or 4 cycles, that this really does replace the normal qualification process. And this really re-anchors FIFA's role to remanage from the regions. And I would argue that that's really the history of the game. Is it started as a globally centralized governed body, and then it became large enough and it became regionalized, and we saw this, you know, 40, 50 years, 40 odd years of semi-corrupt acts worldwide. This would allow them, and I think justifiably, to put their arms around the whole game from a nation standpoint. The club World Cup is more interesting because FIFA can define the Nations Cup, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to be in the World Cup. Everyone wants the cachet of the sponsors. Everyone wants the revenue to support the federation. So really no one's turning that money down. Besides the Germany, England, you know, the top 3 or 4 big European countries. The Club World Cup is a little more interesting because it has the opportunity to kind of throw back to the old world game in the 60s and the 70s, kind of the exciting period when you had the, you know, top clubs in Brazil and Argentina competing, you know, worldwide, which, you know, really shut down in the late 80s. So
we shall see what happens. Aaron De Los Reyes from New York, busy man, getting phone calls live on the air. That's how that
Sorry,
works.
that's a little Adam Schefter moment there.
Happens every time. Aaron, thank you so much for
Thank you so much, Jason. All right, so how'd that come off?
Okay. No, it's fine.
Sorry.
I just wanted to get us out. No, that was as a dry run, that was brilliant. I'm not. Okay. I have no beef at all with any of that. What just happened? Again,
in terms of sound, my look,
so
like movement, all that stuff.
I would say you seem
brutal
loud.
Truth.
You seem loud on my end, but that may be me. I don't know, and we can always try to tweak levels. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I mean, we have the ability. Hold on, let me see. When I switch,
I do. I can turn you down on my end.
Okay.
I have it at 100. I could put you at 80, and it might be more level with me. That's something we can on the back end. We can't figure that out until we watch it.
Yep.
I think the split screen looks good. I think it looks fairly professional. You know, I've got to look at the camera, not at you when you're talking, because which is fine. I think workflow out. So I ended up running the opening sequence thing that I've been using, the grass with the things falling. I use that to get us out because I need a video transition. I need something that wipes the screen. Like I can't go from your shot to my solo shot again without something in the middle. So that's what I have to figure out. Now, we don't have this opening video is still not complete because we haven't had somebody put in, like we haven't bought we haven't gotten our hands on the B-roll or whatever we're going to use in this video slots. So we have to still, you know,
I want to do that this week.
Technically speaking, I could do it. It's fine, but if not, I mean, obviously that's a Fiverr thing possibly too. We just got to have the footage. It's not very long, and that's fine because we live in an era where you don't really want this big.
Define not very long. I mean, what?
So this whole thing is 12 seconds. Now,
I think I'll be honest. I don't think 12 seconds is that short either for the kind of era we're in from a TV transition to digital.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like I think like time-wise for our audience, it makes sense. But the problem is it doesn't give me a lot of time being my solo producer to kind of like scramble. Now I have to learn how to get everything else selected because my video's at the top layer. So this is just me kind of intellectualizing the process, right?
Yep.
So the video's on the top layer. If I have the video up, it'll block everything else out underneath it. So I can go ahead and set up. I can get my solo shot selected. I can even, you know, there are certain things I can do and not have to worry about it. I just have to move things around and sort of be ready to just push, hopefully, just one button after the video rolls, and then I'll be live on the air. Just make sure my microphone is hot and all those things. In fact, I really hope my microphone was hot when we were doing that. That's the stuff. Like I have to make sure all of this stuff is kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of this is just the reps of not doing the daily live air where you're going through kind of a mini dry run.
Well, and I was thinking about this too, man. I was talking to Kayla about this. I'm just gonna have to eat the process. Like
yes,
gonna have to eat the process, and I have to stop.
No, we're there. We're not missing the World Cup. We're eating the process.
Right. I want it to be 100% perfect every single time. I know it's not going to be. So and there's a level of like what the audience is aware of, but I have to basically be like, I'm owning this. Like I'm pushing the buttons. Like you're not gonna.
Well, but I mean, it's not an obvious button pushing that is kind of onerous, and I think that's key too. I mean, you don't have to like hold up midis. No,
but
way.
My issue is not looking down and pushing the buttons. I'm not going to sweat that. What my issue is if I do the wrong thing and the wrong graphic pops up or something comes over the top of me, and now we've got a snafu issue. We don't have just a flow issue. We've got.
So I think one of the things we have to do is we have to have some pre-canned.